questioning, unable to be contained in any word. Welcome to you who are human, created whole and holy. Welcome to you who love and are loved. Welcome to you who are blessed, which is all of you. May this time together be a blessing. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing When the Spirit Says Do. It is number 1014 in your teal hymnal, but it is such an easy song that I don't think you need it. And it will probably trick you with the lines that follow afterwards. 1024. I didn't get the number wrong. I was trying to misdirect you.
Got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. You gotta sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta clap. You got to clap when the Spirit says clap. You got to clap when the Spirit says clap. When the Spirit says clap, you gotta clap, oh Lord. You got to clap when the Spirit says clap. You gotta laugh. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. Got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you gotta laugh, oh Lord. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You gotta be. You got to be when the Spirit says be. You got to be when the Spirit says be. When the Spirit says be, you gotta be, oh Lord. You got to be when the Spirit says be. You gotta do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to Spirit says do. You gotta do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says I invite you to remain risen as we light our chalice and then say our affirmation words together.
We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of service.
Both in English and in Spanish, a reminder of the many languages spoken within this community and beyond, the many languages of the soul. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls may grow into harmony with the divine. This do we covenant with one another. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. La búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su oración. Habitar juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y servir a la humanidad juntos, con el fin de que todas las almas pueden crecer en armonía con lo divino. Esto es lo que pactamos unos con otros.
We light this candle in recognition of the Tamian and Muwekma Ohlone people, who were the first humans to inhabit and sustain this land thousands of years before settler colonizers arrived. We honor the resilience of these indigenous people in the face of devastating harm. And we lift up their neighboring tribe to the south, the Amamutsan tribal band, with whom we are working to preserve their sacred land of Urustak and to ensure that their culture continues to thrive. I'm Marnie Singer, one of the worship associates for today. I warmly welcome you to our church home. This is our beloved sanctuary, and these are our beloved people. Also, some people are participating through Zoom. The screen to your left shows what they can see on their devices. Our tech crew will now show who is online by gallery view, so we can see them and feel slightly connected sooner or later. The sanctuary camera is over there. When the camera pans the sanctuary, you can wave to our friends when it is aimed at you. I know it's weird to wave here when you see them over there, but try it. It's good to see who's here. After the service, please join us in Hattie Porter Hall through those double doors for social hour. Dare to reach out to someone you've never talked with before. And this applies to old-timers as well as newcomers. Community is knit together by connections between people. Check out the tables and coffee hour. We have snacks and beverages. The welcome table offers more information about Unitarian Universalism and this congregation. At the pastoral care table, you'll find a warm person with listening ears and candles to light. And the social justice table has ways you can join us in living our values into the world. Breaking from recent tradition, I would like to start with some words from Alegria Singer's anthem a couple of weeks ago. The song is Trusty and True by Damien Rice. Simply saying the words isn't as beautiful as hearing John Ector's solo with the choir, but I feel the words are worth hearing again. Come alone, come with fear, come with love, come however you are, just come. And if all that you are is not all you desire, then come. We can't take back what is done, what is past. So let us start from here. Just come. Come, let yourself be wrong. Come, it's already begun. Come, let yourself become. Just come.
I'm the Reverend Matthew McHale. My pronouns are he and him, and it is my pleasure to serve this congregation as its minister. Today, I'm wearing a pink and blue and white shirt that matches the colors of trans pride, although I've got some dark blue in there too, but we'll forgive that. A couple quick announcements. Today, after the service, we also have our congregational meeting where we elect our officers, so I hope you'll stick around for that. We do need a quorum. It should be a relatively short meeting. We don't have too much business, so that'll start roughly 10 minutes after service ends, so head into coffee hour, make some connections, stop by the table, one of the tables that Marnie mentioned, and then head back in. Anyone's welcome, but members, you have to be a member to vote. Also, coming up in 2 weeks from now, we have our Social Justice Council is hosting something we're calling a startup, or maybe more of a restart, an opportunity to reinvigorate the justice work that has been going on in this church for a while, that I think in some ways slowed down during the pandemic and during the interim time, and now at this time where being a presence for justice in our community is so important. I hope to see you all there. And there's information about that and more on the back of your order of service. And now I have a story for all ages. Get this mic? There we go. So I'm glad to see some young at heart have already made it down to our labyrinth before I even asked you to come down. So today is our service where we're honoring Trans Day of Visibility, which is celebrated actually tomorrow, the last day of March every year, celebrating people who are transgender or non-binary, gender diverse, lots of different ways to say it. And so people who don't necessarily align with the gender they were given at birth. So many of us were said, well, you were a boy or a girl when we were a kid, and sometimes that doesn't necessarily feel right. And so this isn't a story about a trans person, but rather a story about an animal that didn't quite fit in one way or another. It's a wonderful story called Neither by Arlie Anderson. Once upon a time, there were two kinds, this and that, these and those, one or the other, until honk! What kind are you? I'm both. You can't be both. You must be neither. I'm neither? Neither tried to play a this game. You can't play with us. You're not rabbity enough. Neither tried to play a that game. You can't play with us. You're not birdie enough. Why don't you find somewhere else? You're not one of us. You're neither. Neither, 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 neither. I don't think neither felt very good about that. Then, where did you come from? Honk, I'm from the land of this and that, but I'm neither. So I'm looking for somewhere else to fit in. Well, this isn't somewhere else, but you will fit in here. Where is here? The land of all. So many different kinds. Come play with us, said the tiger bee. But I'm different from everyone here. I'm neither red nor orange, nor yellow nor blue. Exactly. Excuse us. We're from the land of this and that, but we don't fit in at home. We are looking for somewhere else. You said I should go somewhere else. Well, this isn't somewhere else. This is the land of all, and everyone fits in here. Once upon a time, there were many kinds, this and that, somewhat and whatnot, either, very, sort of, just, rather, a little, neither, and both. And all were welcome. The end. And so I think that's part of what we're trying to do is create, maybe not, well, actually on a larger scale, we are trying to create a land for all so that our community here in San Jose, in Santa Clara County, in California, in this country, in the world, is welcoming to all people. And we also try to do that here in our own community as Unitarian Universalists, to be welcoming to all. Because I don't know about you, but like I looked at those pictures of just the birds and the bunnies, and like the birds and the bunnies were cool, but like when you got to see all those animals that were like mixes of different kinds and colors, like that's the land that I want to live in, where there's a lot more options and beauty and possibility. So that's the land we're trying to create. And I think that is part of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. All right, so let's sing our children off to their religious education classes. We have a song that has some hand motions, which you're welcome to join me in doing. Now is the time in our service where we invite contributions that help our ministries to grow and thrive. The important work of making love visible in the world is our work to do, and we contribute in many ways with our time and talents as well as our treasure. And so we take up our offering. If you're paying online, you can do that by going to sanjoseuu.org/donate to make your offering with a credit card or through PayPal. And you can also, if you're writing a check, you can make it out to San Jose UU or FUCSJ. I guess FUCSJ is probably slightly better, but I don't think it matters. And then you can write offering in the memo line. If you're making a payment on your pledge instead, please make sure to write pledge then in the memo instead. Our offering will now be gratefully received. To the work of the church, which is making love visible in all we say and do, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
Now I'm on. Oh, it was on. Oh. So my name is Marnie Singer. I'm terrified right now in this moment. This is a program, the reflection that I'm going to do for you is a program that I created basically about a month ago, and I presented it at Diablo Valley College and at Sacramento State University last week. What I want to say before I begin is that I do not represent, I am one guy of many guys, one man of many men, and my experience is different from everybody else's. So what I went through, this is my experience and what I went through. And thank you so much for being here and for, I know I'm amongst storytellers, so that's a high bar. Olga. May you like it. The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a leprechaun. Not a boy, though. I knew the rules. Masculine girl children like myself and feminine boys were shamed, beaten, and terrorized into conforming to a pink and blue tint of gender. Many accommodations they made as teens, longer, shorter hair, a practiced swagger, or a sway, did little to hide their forbidden gender expression, but instead twisted their entire beings into self-loathing and defeat. I have something I need to tell all of you. I'm transgender, and I've seen a lot. Women's rights, marriage equality, anti-racism, trans rights, one body, many fights. And there are those who didn't make it through, but I did. I always seemed to be able to grab hold of someone and hung on. Years of struggle brought trans people some protections and respect. However, in just the first 3 weeks of this current administration, the president signed executive orders that took away so much. In this moment, we need one another more than ever. In 1998, Leslie Feinberg, a trans activist, said, "When we allow ourselves to be split along lines of oppression, we lose. But when we fight to protect each other and defend each other from attacks, we win." This program this reflection weaves together poetry from Labe Sifri, drama from Leslie Feinberg and Jameson Green, prose from Audre Lorde, and a news article from MedPage Today, all interwoven with the story of Brian, my own, a program, a story, a reflection, I keep interspersed, a reflection, a story on making it through. I wanted to be a leprechaun. Well, leprechauns are male, so that was okay. I was just me. There was no language. Do you get it? No language for what I was. I just knew something was wrong. I was wrong. And so I kept getting hospitalized, trying to protect myself from me. If we are to be whole, we must recognize the despair oppression plants in each of us, that thin, persistent voice that says, our efforts are useless. Things will never change, so why bother? Accept it. And we must fight that inserted piece of self-destruction that lives and flourishes inside of us, unexamined, until it makes us turn upon ourselves. So alone, so lost. And then, after struggling for so many years, I finally came to accept who or what I was. What I knew anyway. Well, I liked women, so I guessed I was lesbian. And as I grew, I found love. At 37, for the first time, I was in love. Her name's Marnie. And I felt better. I felt better. But there was still something wrong. The Center for Disease Control has instructed all scientists to retract or pause publication of any research material being considered by any medical or scientific journal to ensure that no forbidden terms appear in the work. Gender, transgender, pregnant person, LGBT, non-binary. Date, February 1, 2025. In 1997, a lesbian bar was bombed in Atlanta. Listen to the sound of bombs. Hear politicians vilifying our lives. Smell the smoke from the black churches. See the swastikas. None of us can fight back alone and hope to win, no matter how hard we struggle. We have always been stronger wherever we have formed coalitions, in classrooms, at workplaces, at political protests. An injury to one is an injury to all. Mom, how come I'm not like the other girls? What do you mean, Jamie? Well, I'm different, and everybody knows it. Maybe if I had a dress like Vicky's, I'd be like all the other girls. Maybe a purse? Well, sure, but you're perfectly normal. Well, you're just a late bloomer. I'm sure you'll grow up to be a very handsome woman. Handsome? I kind of like the sound of that. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho, your lies will come tumbling. Singing in a gender diverse chorus in San Francisco, together, we sounded great. I met this trans guy and we clicked, we just clicked. What? I didn't want to do him, I wanted to be him. Anyway, I knew in that moment that I could transition and be happy about it too. So I went home to Marnie. Honey, I'm going to start taking testosterone. Honey, if you do that, we're going to have to do that together. We'll need to find a couples counselor. You can't take that journey alone. The day finally came when we were ready. We went to Kaiser. I'm here to talk about transitioning. I'm 41. I'm an adult. This is a very difficult decision for me, for us. And we'll answer any questions you have. Oh, well, this is an easy one. Oh, you're already so male. I thought you'd already been on testosterone. Would you like your first shot now? Sure. And she gave me my first shot. And I wept. Just wept. Because it was so simple. A problem that I had had all my life that had felt so monumental was so simple. But it wasn't easy because of all the things that followed in the years that followed. The legal issues, the social transition, the surgeries, having to learn how to live differently in a world that still doesn't accept me. I was lucky. I survived. We can't do this alone. We need one another. I didn't do it alone. And because I didn't have to, on that day, I became Brian.
It kills to find out that your love is a crime to the ones that taught you to love. You didn't choose to be beaten or bruised by the stones that built your home. The stones that built your home. There's a girl in the mirror, taunted by the reflection of someone she'll never be. In her silken pink dress that falls to her ankles like chains, she longs to be free. Her brother's tuxedo that hangs in the closet would fit her much better, she knows. She didn't choose to be beaten or bruised by the stones that built her home. The stones that built her home. La, da, 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 da. La, da, 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 da. La, da, 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 da. La, da, 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 da. Every once in a while, when the cries get too loud and hurt is all we see, call out the wrongs at the top of our lungs. We have the right to be. We're damned and abused, often stripped of our truth. Aren't we all deserving of love? We didn't choose to be beaten or bruised by the stones that built our home. The stones that built our home. The stones that built our homes.
I invite you now to join me in a spirit of meditation or prayer. So I offer you these words written for Trans Day of Visibility by M. Jade Kaiser. You perfectly put togethers, you beautiful messes, you rough around the edges, you gentle and wild ones. If you worry about being enough, trans enough, pretty enough, brave enough, strong enough, sure enough, hand over your questions in one final prayer and take the open hand of your own life. The only right way to be trans is the one that preserves your soul, the one that helps you tend to the holy in you. the holy in your toes, in your lips, in your guts, the holy in your scars, in your hair, or lack thereof. Fall in love with it. Assure it that it is welcome. Feed it with your hands. Speak its real name like it never had another. Whisper in its ear how sexy it looks. It deserves to thrive. It deserves safety. It deserves somewhere to rest. It deserves joy. When it's denied, nonetheless, hold it softly as a knowing one does. You are not a burden or a lie or a distraction. You are a holy encounter in all the ways you change, in all the ways you stay the same. Your flesh is a testimony to the power and beauty of wearing your own truth. It looks so good on you. When these facts finally make a home in your bones, when you can live, don't settle for the ease of your own exhale. The air in your lungs is the gift of generations, and too many are running out of breath, suffocated by misogyny and white supremacy and hate, by isolation and individualism, by the state. The only right way to be trans is the one that keeps you here. So we can find each other and love this collective body, yearning to be received authentically, justly, entirely. Amen and blessed be. We take time in our service to lift up the joys and sorrows from within this community and in the wider world. This week, may we hold in our hearts all those who have been impacted by the earthquake in Myanmar and Thailand, which has killed at least 1,600 people and left many more grieving, without homes. We hold all of those who feel like they are living in these times on shaky and hazardous ground. Where the earthquakes of politics and the aftershocks create a sense of destabilization and fear. immigrants, trans and non-binary people, people of color, people who believe in truth, and the people who are living with the threats of violence in their own communities, wherever that may be. We hold them in our hearts. And in a moment, I'm going to sound this singing bowl, and after I do, I invite you to speak into this space aloud, words overlapping, any joys or sorrows that are on your heart this morning, any names or occasions that you would like lifted up into the embrace of this beloved community. For we were never meant to hold these things alone. As Brian said, we get through this together in community.
Marnie's and Mira's birthday. Deaf people.
Diana, her recovery, and Justin.
Happy birthday, number 44.
All that has been shared and all that is too tender yet to share, in which we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. We offer these into the embrace of this beloved community. And if just saying those words out loud into this space is not enough, you can also stop by our pastoral associates table after the service, where you can write in our book of joys and sorrows, or light a candle, or talk with our pastoral associate of the week. Or you can also contact our pastoral associates by emailing pastoralassociates@sanjoseuu.org. Remember, we are not alone. I invite you to join me in singing our sung meditation. It's a song called Becoming by Mary Gregolia. I'm going to ask to leave the lyrics off for just a second. I'm going to sing it one time through, and then I'll invite you in. And then we'll keep singing, and only one word changes each time, so it'll be pretty easy. I am what I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. I am what I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. The words up. I am who I'm becoming.
I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. I am who I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. You are who you're becoming. You are all you have done. You are what you are dreaming. You've only just begun. You are who you're becoming. You are all you have done. You are what you are dreaming. You've only just begun. We are who we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun. We are who we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun.
Hello. My name is Ray. My pronouns are he, him, and occasionally a royal we. I suspect that most parents' first reaction to hearing their kids declare themselves to be trans or non-binary is to resist it in some way. And by that, I don't mean necessarily disapproving, although that is very common. A person's identity is defined by that person, but to a parent, their offspring's identity is actually a sum total of a long chain of many different things. The kid says, I am this, but that's what they're saying now. This does not take into account all the other things that a parent remembers, the 2- and 3-year-old's tantrums, the 5-year-old's endless series of questions, the 11-year-old's endless series of arguments, the teenagers shouting and slamming of doors, and on and on and on. So when your kid says that they're trans, many parents may wonder, is this just a phase? And maybe it is, and maybe it isn't, but that's not the point. Whether we knew it or not, our job as parents was to help shepherd this little human into their life, and as they grow and develop, they'll become someone different than you expect. They may go off to things that you may never conceive of. They will learn things that you'll never know. They may have careers that you did not even know existed. But that is okay, because we're never in real control of who they would become. And there we have come to the crux of the biscuit. Control. It seems to me that the extent to which you believe yourself to be in control of your child's development is closely connected to how much you will struggle. The struggle comes from unexpected places. I had no issue with ideas about my kids' future romantic or sexual partners. I have no problem accepting that other people have different ideas about what sex and relationships mean. I was raised by a second-wave feminist who was a public health nurse, who believed that if someone actually did not hurt or kill people, then it was just their business. Someone being affectionate with an unexpected kind of partner did not merit a blink. But if you rode a motorcycle without a helmet, hell has no fury like it. What I found unexpectedly painful was my kids' declaration that they had a new name, that the name they were given at birth, a name that I chose, was their dead name, one that was never to be used again. This hurt a lot, but really only until the surprise wore off. After all, it is not reasonable to ask somebody to keep a name that is different than the one that they want. Ultimately, though, you realize that your child is still your child. You still love certain things about them. They still annoy you for the same reasons that they used to. You may not understand everything about this transition they're going through, and you may not understand where they're going to be later in the process, but let's face it, no parent is going to understand everything about their kids through their whole life. So as a parent, what should we do when a kid announces some change to their gender identity? Well, let us remember the old adage, first do no harm. Then think about whether you want your kid to be happy or not. No matter what your kid has to do to be happy, do you want to support or oppose that? Your child may be wrong about what they need, but that doesn't mean that you're right. So let's try to think about how we can be helpful and kind to our children. That at least is a good start. And if you're going through a transition and your parents are not supportive, please try to forgive them. Nobody's parents do everything they should for their kids, give everything they should for their kids. All parents fail in some way at being the kind of parent that they want to be. Even if they do not seem to be saying it, it does not mean that you are not loved. The will to love is greater than the requirement to understand.
So I'm the Marnie that Brian mentioned in his piece. I'm a non-binary person who is comfortable with she pronouns, and yet I'll accept they as well. For those who can't see me, and probably no one can because of the pulpit, I'm wearing a black t-shirt with a UU flaming chalice printed over the blue, pink, and white transgender flag. The text on the shirt says, let me see if I can I do this briefly? Okay. The text on the shirt says, my faith is love and protect trans kids. And that includes my 9-year-old trans granddaughter, whose name I said into the room, Jada Lynn Collier. Her cousins helped her decide on her name. In these times, I wish I could wear this shirt in public every day. So today we're celebrating Trans Day of Visibility, but really, and I want you to hear this, visibility isn't enough. We are reaching for understanding and inclusion. And after hearing Ray, we're reaching for love. We want gender variant people to be seen as people with inherent worth and dignity, but getting there is not easy. The human brain is fascinating. We're capable of incredibly complex thought. And we have reactive instincts that evolved eons ago to help our ancestors survive, which make us naturally afraid of things that are unfamiliar or we don't understand. If it's new, it's scary. Run away from it, hide, try to eliminate it, even though it may not always serve us well. I believe that fear is at the heart of the recent spate of attacks on the rights of trans and non-binary folks in bills and executive orders. So what do we do? The people we must start with are ourselves. Even when I had known and loved a number of trans people, I noticed that when I saw someone in public whose gender looked ambiguous, the chatterbox in my head would say, "Is that a man or a woman?" After a while, I learned to notice and be aware of my instinctive reactions. The gentle teacher in my head replied that I didn't need to know their gender identity. That person was themselves. And later, I learned to celebrate that this was someone who dared to be the unique person they are. What growth that was for me. This is one reason I would like to see a large number of us participating with the UUA's Common Read this year, called Authentic Selves. If you turn over the order of service, there's a blurb about it too. We can learn even more about the beautiful variety of experiences of trans and non-binary people and their families. And doing it together will strengthen our relationships between us and among us. I believe that the most effective way of moving our culture forward is through building relationships. Let's do it.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing "How Could Anyone" by Libby Roderick. We'll sing it twice through. Could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. In preparation for today's service, I started reading the book that Marnie mentioned, Authentic Selves, Celebrating Trans and Non-Binary People and Their Families. And it's a great book from the small part that I've read so far. And one of the things that really struck me about it, and I think one of the things that's so powerful about the book, is that it shows that there are so many different ways to be trans or non-binary. The very first testimonial sharing comes from Jack Pearson, who talks about how their gender identity has continuously evolved. Assigned female at birth, and a kid who always acted like a tomboy, and who changed their name when they got to college and started using both he and she pronouns, as the singular they pronoun wasn't in widespread use yet. But over time, Jack came to prefer he and him pronouns. There was still some discomfort when someone who didn't know Jack was genderqueer referred to Jack as she. It felt like their identity, their gender, was being erased. And at the time, they felt happy in their body and didn't think they needed any hormones, any testosterone, or any medical procedures, until a few years later, they decided that they did. And then they started using they, them pronouns, particularly as it gained more wide usage. And then a few years into transitioning medically, when strangers would routinely refer to Jack as he or him, well, that was the time in their life when they finally started to lean into their feminine side. Something that they had never done in their lives, because it felt different being perceived as a feminine man and not a woman. And so wearing lipstick and nail polish with their beard helped them feel more visibly queer. And that's just Jack's experience. There are so many expressions of gender, or sometimes the rejection of gender. It's as varied as there are people. As Congresswoman Sarah McBride, the first openly trans person in Congress, writes, "There is no one way to be trans." Alex Capitan, whose pronouns are Z and per, and also he, and uses no pronouns. But typically, I've known Alex for a while, and so Alex says, Alex is fine with me using the pronouns he, but when they're presenting workshops, they go by Z and per because they want to challenge people who they know may struggle to just start to think more expansively. And some of you may know Alex from their work with this congregation several years ago as part of the Transforming Hearts Collective. And Alex writes in the intro, in their intro to the book, about the beautiful diversity of people and experiences who are trans and non-binary. Some people know they are trans from their earliest moments. Some people discover the truth of their gender later in life. Some, like Jack, see their gender as something that is continuously unfolding. Some people have transitioned socially, but not felt the need to change anything about their physiology. And some have transitioned socially, medically, and legally, which, let me be clear here, does not make them any more or less trans. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't make anyone more or less trans. Each person created beautiful, whole, and holy. Some trans women think of their child selves as being boys and have no problem with the name they were given at birth, while some have always known they were girls and women and never want to hear their dead name. Some trans men's kids call their parent dad. Some call them mom. Some call them by their first name or an invented term. Some people want to blend in, and some people want to clash in a fabulous fashion with all that is seen as normal. And it's all beautiful. But I also want to say, thank God for the people who want to clash, honestly, in these times, and just challenge those norms, whatever they may be. For me, as someone who was raised by feminist parents and by Unitarian Universalism, and has known that it was known that I wasn't straight since my early teens, that felt like permission enough to engage in gender bending, to wear nail polish or mascara or cross-dress for numerous scenes, including at least 2 from the movie The Birdcage in their high school theater class, that haven for self-expression. My favorite belt that I have ever owned was a bright red girls' belt that I found in the couch cushions of a community center that had dozens of small red rhinestones in a heart shape on the belt buckle. To not feel like I had to engage in only masculine pursuits or be constrained in my emotional expression because boys don't cry and all that toxic stuff. Who loves wearing pink and purple, who, when she was in preschool, said that pink is a girl's color because she had heard it from some teacher or classmate, immediately ran to my closet and put on my pink shirt. Correction, one of my pink shirts says, "No, Daddy wears pink, and he's a boy, isn't he?" And actually, just this morning, when I was deciding what to wear, before I put on this, I put on a pink shirt, and my daughter walked into the bedroom while I was getting changed, and she wasn't fazed by it at all. There was nothing special. She just said, "Dad, when are you going to put on some pants?" And so I feel comfortable in my expansive version of masculinity that also makes space for femininity. And honestly, I've considered on several occasions whether my pronouns might be he and they. And if I had been born 15 to 20 years later, I'm almost sure they would be. If I were in the book neither, I would be rather or a little. The yellow bird with the blue dots on its wings, or the bunny with a swirl in its tail. And I'm so grateful to have that opportunity, to have friends and community who support that, who cherish that, who welcome that. And yet we see people who are afraid of that change, whipped up by reactionary forces, oftentimes used disingenuously, just as an opportunity to inflame the culture wars and to make people angry, to create divisions, to create scapegoats when the real problems are capitalism and racism and ecological devastation and the things that separate us. At this time when so much is under attack, when people are under attack for being who they are, friends who are considering being less, friends who are non-binary, who are deciding to dial it back for their own safety. Even though it hurts their hearts, it hurts their souls, it is heartbreaking. People who can't get passports that match their gender identity, who are worried that they won't have a passport that will let them get out of this country if things go even further south. This is the moment we are living in. And so it's not just enough to be visible to have visibility, although that is important. No, friends, we need to be active and out and supportive. When we have people who are leaving their homes in states with repressive laws, refugees in their own country, we need to create communities of love and support within this congregation and beyond its walls in our community, offering a place of support, a haven for people who are fearful so that they can be themselves. That's what this is. And to reclaim the religious language, to declare that the religious right doesn't have a monopoly on religion. We must proudly declare that all of it is holy. All these expressions of gender are holy. Who do you think Jesus would have sided with? The person who sided with lepers and prostitutes and said they were among the most blessed were amongst the least of them. All of us deserve to thrive. All of us deserve safety. All of us deserve somewhere to rest. All of us deserve joy. Sorry, that was a paraphrase of M. Jade Kaiser. All of us deserve to thrive. All of us deserve safety. All of us deserve somewhere to rest. All of us deserve joy. May we help to make it so. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing Answering the Call of Love. It's number 1014 in your teal hymnal. This was a song that was originally written for the marriage equality movement almost around 20 years ago, and I think is more expansive than that. And so it's grateful to see how far we can come in 20 years and know, and we have to hold out hope for continued growth and change for our trans and non-binary beloveds, to continue to answer the call of love. If you're following along in the hymnals, instead of singing Standing on the Side of Love, it's Answering the Call of Love, to be inclusive of those to get rid of ableist language for those who don't stand. Please join in singing.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. Blessed and made whole, the truth in our hearts is our good.
Can we just wait? Sorry. We don't have the words up on the screen, and we got like half the people who aren't singing, so I'm just deciding whether or not to stop the song. Can we get that up there first? I want y'all to sing. I want to hear us sing loud and proud together, because we need that energy. And I know, and thank you for our tech folks who are struggling with technology that is occasionally uncooperative. Blessings to you. It is in the file. It wasn't advancing. There we go. All right. One more time, with feeling.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together.
not divide.
When love will not divide, reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim, we are answering the call. We are answering the call of
As our service comes to a close, I invite you, as you feel comfortable, to take a hand or bump elbows or touch a shoulder, make some connection. To those of you joining us on Zoom, we invite you to send your energy here to us and to each other as we send ours back to you. Go forth in the embrace of a great love that knows you, celebrates you, and calls you whole. May the warmth of loving community sustain your spirit. May the light of truth illuminate your path, and the energy of service help transform our world. Go in peace, go in power, go in pride. Amen, and blessed be. Oh, yeah, so just a quick announcement, since I didn't put this in my script. So if you want to join, we're doing a book study on this, which is going to be starting in May. And so if you want to get a copy of the book, you can get one at the social justice table. You can also sign up to participate. We need to know how many people who want to participate, because it's limited to 12 people. And so if we want to offer more, we need to know that, and we'd love to offer more if there's more interest than just 12 people, which I certainly hope and expect there will be. And the